Chance favors the prepared mind. Wine is the most healthful and most hygienic of beverages. A bottle of wine contains more philosophy than all the books in the world. Fortune favors the prepared mind. Messieurs, c'est les microbes qui auront le dernier mot. Gentlemen, it is the microbes who will have the last word. Science knows no country, because knowledge belongs to humanity, and is the torch which illuminates the world. The more I study nature, the more I stand amazed at the work of the Creator. Whatever your career may be, do not let yourselves become tainted by a deprecating and barren skepticism. Do not let yourselves be discouraged by the sadness of certain hours which pass over nations. Live in the serene peace of laboratories and libraries. Say to yourselves first, "What have I done for my instruction?" And, as you gradually advance, "What have I done for my country?" Until the time comes when you may have the immense happiness of thinking that you have contributed in some way to the progress and to the good of humanity. But, whether our efforts are or not favored by life, let us be able to say, when we come near the great goal, "I have done what I could." Chance favors the prepared mind. Science knows no country because it is the light that illuminates the world. The role of the infinitely small in nature is infinitely great. Where observation is concerned, chance favors only the prepared mind. When I approach a child, he inspires in me two sentiments: tenderness for what he is and respect for what he may become. A bit of science distances one from God, but much science nears one to Him. Chance favors only the prepared mind. Let me tell you the secret that has led me to my goal. My strength lies solely in my tenacity. There are two men in each one of us: the scientist, he who starts with a clear field and desires to rise to the knowledge of nature through observations, experimentation and reasoning, and the man of sentiment, the man of belief, the man who mourns his dead children, and who cannot, alas, prove that he will see them again, but who believes that he will, and lives in the hope. The man who will not die like a vibrio, but who feels that the force that is within him cannot die. Quote, Dans les champs de l'observation le hasard ne favorise que les esprits préparés. Where observation is concerned, chance favors only the prepared mind. I am utterly convinced that science and peace will triumph over ignorance and war, that nations will eventually unite not to destroy but to edify, and that the future will belong to those who have done the most for the sake of suffering humanity. In the fields of observation, chance favors only the prepared mind. Science knows no country, because knowledge belongs to humanity. There are no such things as applied sciences, only applications of science. Quote, Chance favors only the prepared mind. The ancients understood the omnipotence of the underside of things. There is no such thing as a special category of science called applied science. There is science and its applications, which are related to one another as the fruit is related to the tree that has borne it. In that memorable year, 1822, Ørsted, a Danish physicist, held in his hands a piece of copper wire, joined by its extremities to the two poles of a voltapile. On his table was a magnetized needle on its pivot, and he suddenly saw, by chance you will say, but chance only favors the mind which is prepared, the needle move and take up a position quite different from the one assigned to it by terrestrial magnetism. A wire carrying an electric current deviates a magnetized needle from its position. That, gentlemen, was the birth of the modern telegraph. Happy is he who bears a God within, and who obeys it. The grandeur of human actions is measured by the inspiration from which they spring. I am on the verge of mysteries, and the veil which covers them is getting thinner and thinner. The night seems to me too long. Life as manifested to us is a function of the asymmetry of the universe. The universe is asymmetrical. 4. If all the bodies in motion which compose the solar system were placed before a glass, the image in it could not be superimposed upon the reality. Terrestrial magnetism. The opposition between positive and negative electricity are but resultants of asymmetrical actions and movements. Life is dominated by asymmetrical actions. I can even imagine that all living species are primordially in their structure, in their external forms, functions of cosmic asymmetry. I am on the edge of mysteries and the veil is getting thinner and thinner. Galamibes rincasi tic passerangushus protus. Fortune favors the prepared mind. Chance favors only the prepared mind. Chance favors only be prepared mind. Fortune favors the prepared mind. Little science takes you away from God, but more of it takes you to Him. Our only consolation, as we feel our strength failing us, is to feel that we may help those who come after us to do more and to do better than ourselves. God grant that by my persevering labors I may bring a little stone to the frail and ill-assured edifice of our knowledge of those deep mysteries of life and death where all our intellects have so lamentably failed. How do you know that in 10,000 years, one will not consider it more likely that matter has emerged from life? How do you know that the incessant progress of science will not compel scientists to consider that life has existed during eternity, and not matter? But what allows you to make it the origin of life? The universe is asymmetric, and I am persuaded that life, as it is known to us, is a direct result of the asymmetry of the universe or of its indirect consequences. The universe is asymmetric. To prove that, until this very day, life has never been shown to man as a product of the forces that govern matter, it could be useful the spiritual doctrine which has been very neglected elsewhere, but always finds at least a glorious refuge in your groups. Perhaps you know that in this difficult question concerning the origin of the infinitesimal, I will have brought experimental rigor that has grown weary of contradiction. Referring to the merit, however, we have inherited severe rules of the method from the great experimenters, Galileo, Pascal, Newton and their followers for 2 centuries. Now, gentlemen, there will be a beautiful story. What is the role, in the overall scheme of creation, of some of these little beings who are the agents of fermentation, the agents of putrefaction, of disorganization of everything that life has had in the surface of the globe? This role is immense, marvelous, really moving. Maybe one day I will be given the opportunity to explain here some of these results. May God grant it to be still in the presence of such a brilliant assembly,